in this moment, and on behalf of all of you, symbolically, these religious leaders would like to present a token of appreciation to Dr. William Vendley. That was signed by the majority of you to appreciate Dr. William Vendley's dedication and commitment for the last 3 decades. So this flag will be displayed from, in Dr. Vendley's house. So Dr. Vendley will remember these words of appreciation from all of you, that his efforts to advance multi-religious collaboration and to make our world a better place. And we will remember Dr. Vendley's commitment to this work forever. Thank you so much, Dr. Vendley. So now, Dr. Vendley, the stage is yours.
Well, thank you very much. I'm now a little older than when I began in Religions for Peace. And I've become a little bit wiser, so I'll be very short. When I began in Religions for Peace, I was always for its mission. But I can now see that in my own heart, there was a great neediness, and there was actually love. But because of you, the neediness has gone away, because I feel loved by you and by every person that I've worked with in Religions for Peace. And so I've been transformed by you, and I can't thank you enough. I have had a wild love life in Religions for Peace. Thank you, and to the youth, I've been younger just a little longer. Thank you so much. Invite Dr. William Vendley to be next to me, and Dr. Azza Karam to be next to me as well. And our leaders here come closer. So in this moment, now is the time to symbolically transition all that we have done to the promise of our future. Our new Religions for Peace Secretary General, Dr. Azza Karam. So please volunteer, bring the flag of the Religions for Peace
to be officially transitioned to our new Secretary General, Dr. Karam. From Dr. Vendley to Dr. Karam.
So, Dr. Azza Karam, look at all of the love in the room and all of the people behind all of these people in the room, and their love and their hopes, and they give you all that we are to lead us forward in religion for peace. We love you, and we're going to be with you, Azza, as our new Secretary General.
Now, it is my honor to give you our new Secretary General, Dr. Azza Karam. I'm sure most of you have worked with Dr. Azza Karam in a variety of occasions. She has a clear commitment in her entire career to advance multi-religious collaboration. I know this commitment is very well known to all of you. While I don't have the time to elaborate more on Dr. Karam's bright history of achievement in this field, I would like to offer just one example. When we talk about the role of religious and traditional leaders and their engagement with the United Nations, history will clearly remember and acknowledge Dr. Karam's leadership in creating the first of its kind, the United Nations Faith-Based Advisory Council. With that note, religious are gathered here. I am really humbled to present you Dr. Azza Karam. Because Dr. Karam is going to address you, so the roadmap for RFP in the next decades to come.
Peace be upon you all. I have incredibly massive shoes to fill, and I'm not talking about their size. The love in this room, the appreciation, the respect, the consideration, from the very personal to the professional for Dr. Vendley's leadership and his legacy is profound. And I wish to begin by expressing my own deep appreciation and respect for that legacy and my commitment to be able to continue that legacy to the best of my ability. Dr. Vendley, I am your student. I thank you. I fully respect and appreciate the trust that you have put in me through the process of election and nomination. And to that end, I wish to thank those who put their trust in me, who are on this dais. So I appreciate each and every one of you, and I wish you to know that I take the responsibility quite seriously and totally. I will not be able to promise meek or mild or weak, but I can promise a legacy of service, and I can promise undying and boundless love for each and every divine in each and every one of you. Eminences, venerables, excellencies, brothers and sisters all, relax, it won't be long. We are living in a pretty difficult time, which I think Dr. Vendley and each one of you who has had the opportunity to speak has outlined very clearly. It seems to me, from the humble understanding that I have, that religion or belief, for anyone who professes either, is one of the fundamental elements in our conception of human life. The question to me is, should we not seek to fully respect freedom of religion or belief? And as people of faith, seek to ensure that they can be guaranteed, such that freedom of religion and belief and conscience can contribute to the attainment of the goals of world peace, social justice and friendship among peoples, and to the elimination of ideologies or practices that are discriminatory in each and every way. There is a quote from St. Thomas Aquinas that I'd like to share with you. 3 things are necessary for the salvation of man: to know what he ought to believe, to know what he ought to desire, and to know what he ought to do. The Buddha said, however many holy words you read, however many you speak, what good will they do if you do not act upon them? One of the basic principles of the Charter of the United Nations is the freedom of thought, conscience, religion, and belief. Given that we live in a world where there is hatred being rekindled between peoples and nations, in which, quite frankly, unfortunately, religion is being used and abused to play a role, we have no choice, I believe, but to be head-on in confronting this misuse, this abuse of religious narratives, the narratives of faith in the name of violence. Yes, we need to build love. Yes, we need to build trust. But above all, we need to build freedom. But what do I mean by freedom? There is a very basic understanding. Freedom was quoted in a poem by William Cowper, quoted by Amartya Sen, an Indian economist who was awarded the 1998 Nobel Peace Prize on Economic Sciences. He quoted William Cowper on freedom. The quote goes, "Freedom has 1,000 charms to show, that slaves, however contented, never know." The main purpose of development, as Amartya Sen argued, is to spread freedom and its 1,000 charms to the unfree. The unfree, as we know in today's figures, are the millions who live not in poverty alone, not only without access to affordable quality education or decent levels of food, nutrition, sanitation, without safety or security, or without an environment that can sustain them. Not even those only without access to decent employment. In fact, the unfree are those whose lives are impacted simultaneously by the intersecting calamities of all of this, plus an environment which threatens each and every life on this planet. When an organization such as Religions for Peace focuses on development, and any siloed approach to programs and projects will result at best in incremental successes. But to seek to achieve a tipping point for sustainability in any endeavor, we need to ensure that we work holistically on all these intersectionalities, i.e., where the work of peacemaking simultaneously serves the needs of education, employment, and the safety of our environment. I maintain that religions, all faith traditions of all the world, agree on a number of things. Most critical is mercy, compassion, and love. And if we can all agree that mercy, compassion, and love will indeed continue to inform the work of Religions for Peace, then I believe that we have the quintessential ingredients to ensure that we are defending freedom of religion, belief, and consciousness, which also means defending the freedom to not believe. That is what religious leaders and an institution that brings us all together needs to maintain and to defend. The opportunity, the possibility of freedom, not for our own faith traditions, but for all of faith and of no faith. And it is that quintessential respect for the freedom of religion, belief, and conscience that I believe our values of mercy, compassion, and love can be most opportunely positioned. There's an African proverb which says, "Tell me who you love, I will tell you who you are." There are many scriptures that spell out what we mean by love. I will not bore you with the scripture, I'm sure that you know it far better than I do. We often fall into the trap of assuming that freedom of religion, belief, and conscience is the one and only thing that we need to defend. However, we must appreciate and not fall into the trap of what St. Thomas Aquinas, an Italian Dominican friar, philosopher, and Catholic priest, and doctor of the church and jurist in the tradition of scholasticism, reminds us. We must love both those whose opinions we share and those whose opinions we reject. For both have labored in the search of truth, and both have helped us in finding it. And how do we love the divine? I find an answer in the Talmud. Whosoever does not persecute them that persecute him, whosoever takes an offense in silence, he who does good because of love, he who is cheerful under his suffering, those are the friends of God. And one of them, the scripture says, they shall shine forth like the sun at noontide. So let me share a very humble reflection. The freedom to love the divine is reflected in each and every living thing, including human, but by no means only the human. It is not a choice that we make, but it is an obsession that we must have. The love of the divine is tempered by freedom, the freedom to see the reflection of the divine in each and every human being and living thing, including those who may not believe in that divine. Father Emeka Obizu writes about a politics of compassion. He urges the church to liberate compassion from its exile, an exile where compassion is a matter of charity, and to do so by undertaking action that consists of both material relief and justice making. Christians are called upon, therefore, to undertake social transformation through actions that are rooted in the experience of compassion. Father Ibizu quotes an African proverb, "When spider webs unite, they can tie up a line," meaning that when people collaborate, they can perform wonders. If our mind is devoid of compassion, our heart is devoid of compassion, inner peace and contentment, then no matter what extensive things or external practices we perform, it is not real religion, it's not spiritual. Our heart is empty of spiritual practice. This is the message from the Kyabye Lama Zopa Rinpoche speaking in 2000. Eminences, Venerables, Excellencies, brothers and sisters all, my outlook to this work that we need to do with Religions for Peace is encapsulated in something very, very simple. Compassion, mercy, and love are the pillars on which Religions for Peace stands and needs to continue to stand. There is a sense in which I believe very strongly in servant leadership, and it's quintessential humility. For my faith, my peace, and my obsession with the divine is informed in the service to the divine, including that residing in each of you, which I found in the words of Saint Teresa of Avila, words that profoundly impact on me. You pay God a compliment by asking great things of Him. So I beg you, one and all, let us join together as a movement of Religions for Peace to pay God a compliment. Let us ask great things of God, the freedoms of all religions to make peace. And let us make that ask with a humility based on an obsession with love, mercy, compassion, of and about and with the divine in all its forms and manifestations. I believe that Religions for Peace's key strength lies in its interreligious councils in each and every one of you. These interreligious councils I wish to commit to strengthening and honoring the service to. I also believe it is high time that Religions for Peace continue the collaboration with governmental, intergovernmental, and other non-governmental secular partners. And to that end, I sincerely hope that I will be able to work with you to strengthen the interreligious councils and to create some of the critical task forces around environment, peace building, and education to begin with. I look forward to continuing this journey with you. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Karam. Thank you for these words here. I really wanted the Assembly also to pay special thanks to Yasco.